नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. We got a break for 2 days in the middle. Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day and the day after that. Yes. So let's recite chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, Kunti Maharani's prayers. And I don't know how much time I will have. If possible, I will also cover maybe one shloka from the 10th canto. I have a class at the temple, so I would like to end at 7:30. Let us see. So let's recite the verses first. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. Okay. This is called the divine and demoniac natures, Daiva Asura Sampatti Yoga. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyagah Shantir Apaishunam Daya Bhuteshvaloluptvam Mardavam Hrir Achapalam Tejah Kshamadhritihi Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita. Actually, sorry, I said we will read the translations first so that you'll understand. Okay, so let's read the translations first and then I will recite the verses. Okay, the 16th chapter is like this. First 3 verses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So the first 3 verses are godly qualities. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. 1 second. Okay. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, dambha and ahankara. The demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the primary necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that they may gradually be elevated. So now we can recite the verses with this meanings. Okay, please recite. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यम् अक्रोधस् त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् मार्दवम् ह्रीरचापलम् तेजः क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदम् दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत सम्पदीं दैवीम् दिस इज दैवी सम्पदा दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थसम्पदमासुरीम् दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धायासुरीमता मा शुचः सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डव द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्ता आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारो न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते असत्यम् अप्रतिष्ठं ते जगद् आहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्पर सम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् एतां दृष्टिम् अवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः कामम् आश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्रहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः चिन्ताम् अपरिमेयां च प्रलयान्ताम् उपाश्रिताः कामोपभोगपरमा एतावद् इति निश्चिताः आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः कामक्रोधापरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान् इदम् अद्य मया लब्धम् इमं प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम् इदम् अस्तीदमपि मे भविष्यति पुनर्धनम् असौ मया हतः शत्रुर् हनिष्ये चापरानपि ईश्वरोऽहम् अहं भोगी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी आढ्योऽभिजनवान् अस्मि पुण्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इत्यज्ञानविमोहिताः अनेकचित्तविभ्रान्ता मोहजाला समावृताः प्रसक्ताः कामभोगेषु पतन्ति नरकेषु च आत्मसम्भाविताः स्तब्धा धनमानमदान्विताः यजन्ते नाम यज्ञैस्ते दम्भेनाविधिपूर्वकम् अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं च संश्रिताः माम् आत्मपरदेहेषु प्रद्विषन्तोऽभ्यसूयकाः तान् अहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रम् अशुभान् आसुरीष्वेव योनिषु आसुरीं योनिमापन्ना मूढा जन्मनि जन्मनि माम् अप्राप्यैव कौन्तेय यतो यान्त्यधमां गतिम् त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामः क्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् एतैर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय तमोद्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयस्ततो याति परां गतिम् यः शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम् अवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम् तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुम् इहार्हसि श्रीमद् भागवतम Canto 1 Kunti Maharani's prayers. Okay, so we'll read the translations again first. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you, unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. O Rishikesha, master of the senses and lord of lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. My lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists. My lord, I consider your lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Others say that since both Vasudev and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us? Now, when all kings are at enmity with us, as the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. O Gadadhar, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits. The rivers are flowing. The hills are full of minerals and the oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. O Krishna, O friend of Arjun, O chief amongst the descendants of Rishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. So now we can recite the verses in Sanskrit. Text 18 onwards. कुन्त्युवाच नमस्ये पुरुषं त्वाद्यम् ईश्वरं प्रकृते परम् अलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बहिरवस्थितम् मायाजवनिकाच्छन्नम् अज्ञादोक्षजमव्ययम् न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशा नटो नाट्यधरो यथा तथा परमहंसानां मुनीनाम् अमलात्मनाम् भक्तियोगविधानार्थं कथं पश्येमहि स्त्रियः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये यथा ऋषिकेशखलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं शुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपद्गणात् विशान्महाग्ने पुरुषाददर्शनात् असत्सभाया वनवासकृच्छ्रतः मृधे मृधेनेकमहारथास्त्रतो द्रौण्यस्त्रतश्चास्म हरेभिरक्षिताः विपदः सन्तु ताः शश्वत् तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरो भवतो दर्शनं यत्स्यात् अपुनर्भव दर्शनं जन्मैश्वर्यश्रुतश्रीभिरेधमाना मदः पुमान् नैवार्हत्यभिधातुं वै त्वाम् अकिञ्चन गोचरम् नमो किञ्चन वित्ताय निवृत्ता गुणवृत्तये आत्मारामाय शान्ताय कैवल्यापतये नमः मन्ये त्वां कालमीशानम् अनादिनिधनं विभुं समं चरन्तं सर्वत्र भूतानां यन्मिथः कलिः न वेद कश्चिद् भगवंश्चिकीर्षितम् तवेहमानस्य नृणां विडम्बनम् न यस्य कश्चिद्दयितोऽस्ति कर्हिचित् द्वेष्यश्च यस्मिन् विषमामतिर्नृणाम् जन्म कर्म च विश्वात्मन् अजस्या कर्तुरात्मनः तिर्यन्निशिषु यादःसु तद् अत्यन्तविडम्बनम् गोप्या ददे त्वयि कृतागसिदाम तावत् या ते दशाश्रुकलिलाञ्जनसम्भ्रमाक्षम् वक्त्रं निनीय भयभावनया स्थितस्या सा मां विमोहयति भीरपि यद्बिभेति केचिदाहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदो प्रियस्यान् भवाये मलयस्येव चन्दनम् अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां याचितोऽभ्यगात् अजस्त्वम् अस्य क्षेमाय वधाय च सुरद्विषाम् भारावतारणायान्ये भुवो नावा इवो दधौ सीदन्त्या भूरि भारेण जातो ह्यात्मभुवार्थितः भवेस्मिन् क्लिश्यमानानाम् अविद्याकामकर्मभिः श्रवणस्मरणार्हाणि करिष्यन्निति केचन शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त्यभीक्ष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकं भवप्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम् अप्यद्य स्वकृते हितप्रभो जिहाससि स्वित्सुहृदोऽनुजीविनः येषां न चान्यद्भवतः पदाम्बुजात् परायणं राजसुयोजितां हसाम् केवयं नाम रूपाभ्यां यदुभिः सह पाण्डवाः भवितो दर्शनं यर्हि कृषिकाणामिवेशितुः नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः इमे जनपदाः स्वृद्धाः सुपक्वौषधिविरुधाः वनाद्रिनद्युदन्वन्तो ह्येधन्ते तव वीक्षितैः अथ विश्वेश्वविश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं छिन्धि दृढं पाण्डुषु वृष्णिषु त्वयि मे नन्यविषया मतिर्मधुपते सकृत् रतिम् उद्वहता दग्धा गंगे वौघम् उदन्वती श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सख वृष्णि ऋषभावनिधृग् राजन्यवंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्या गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरार्तिहरावतारा योगेश्वराखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। श्रीमती कुंती महारानी स्तुति की जय। So we have some more time, about 15 minutes. We can read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, The Atrocities of King Kamsa. Actually, I think we're coming to the end of this chapter. So we are seeing that Kamsa's ministers are explaining their plan to Kamsa. So first of all, they said, don't worry about the demigods. They're very insignificant. Even Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, they're all hiding out of fear of you. What to speak of other demigods? But still, you should not be negligent of the enemy. Even if the enemy is insignificant, if you don't suppress them, then in due course of time, they can become very powerful. Just like if you neglect the disease Amaya, it becomes very acute and it becomes incurable in future. So you shouldn't be negligent, although you don't have anything to fear from them, but still they have an enmity towards you. That enmity can in future make them very powerful and can create problems for you. So you should suppress them. So what is our plan? The demigods are your enemies. The root of the demigods is Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu resides where there is dharma. Dharma means where there is yagyas being performed, where there is tapasya, and then where there is charity, where all these pious activities are done, like dharma, where dharma is performed. And how yagyas will be performed? They are performed with the ghee. Where do you get ghee? Ghee comes from cow milk. So we'll kill all the cows. And then we'll kill the brahmanas, because who performs the yagyas? The brahmanas are performing the yagyas. So in the last couple of classes, we were talking about the mentality of asuras. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. Asuras' mentality is to kill, is to remove Lord Vishnu. And the root, where do you find Lord Vishnu? Where there is dharma. So they will preach against dharma. They will try to destroy dharma this way, that way, deliberately, right? That which is dear to the Lord, where the Lord resides, they will preach against that dharma. They will try to suppress it in various ways. One of the things can be like, it's not possible in Kali Yuga. So that's one thing that you hear. So whoever it is, if anyone, and also we just recited the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the last two verses of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What do they say? Yah shastra vidim utsrijya vartate kamakaratah. One who gives up the injunctions of Shastra. This dharma is given by Shastra. And if you simply reject the Shastric injunctions, saying that no, it's not possible, it's not applicable, if you give it up, then you cannot get perfection in anything that you do. You cannot get happiness. And what to speak of getting the ultimate destination? It is not possible. And further on, if you go to the next chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which we will recite after the 16th chapter, we will see that further the consciousness of such a person who is rejecting Shastra, that is further explained. So anyway, in essence, what it is one who is outright rejecting Shastra, saying that this is not possible, this is not practical. That means if anyone is not following Shastra, means he has dambha and ahankara. Dambha means pride and ahankara means false ego, right? He's filled with this pride and arrogance. Only such people can reject Shastra. If one does not have pride, if one does not have ahankara, false ahankara, mithya ahankara, he will never reject Shastra. As soon as you see that somebody doesn't follow Shastra and he's acting in his own way, whimsical way, right? A whimsical way means you create your own system, you create your own plan. Even in bhakti, you make your own way how you're going to perform bhakti. This is how I will do it. Shastra is telling us to do in a certain way, but I will practice my own way because according to my intelligence, I'm so intelligent, right? That in the current situation, the way it is described in the Shastras, it is not practical. Even the way it is taught by the Acharya, it is not applicable. So I will make the adjustments now and I will do this way. What is this? This is because of dambha and ahankara, not accepting the Shastras way, the way it is given, but instead making our own system and still thinking that I'm a devotee. What does Narad Muni say about this? Narad Muni says that Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpata Eva Kalpates. That type of bhakti, Aikantiki bhakti, you're doing only devotional service, but still, even if you're doing exclusive devotional service, but if it is not according to Shastra, as described in Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Pancharatra, the rules, if you're not doing according to rules, then that type of bhakti, is it going to give you some, some advancement? No, it's simply the only result that you get out of that bhakti is disturbance in society. Utpataya eva kalpate. Right.
If somebody doesn't follow scriptures, then is going to fall down.
Yeah.
He will give up all the things.
So by doing that, what will happen? Eventually, even whatever he's doing, he has already given up. Now he's thinking that he's doing something according to his plan. But so the thing is, he is not doing bhakti all the time. For one thing, it's not possible for such a person to be doing bhakti all the time. For some time he may be doing, but You will see. Sometimes he will do for some time and then he'll get bored of that and then he'll go back to some material activity. So all
Mataji,
uh,
can you explain this part again? Ekantiki bhakti utpate vikalpate.
Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpataye Kalvate. So without following the rules and regulations, the rules which are given in Shruti means the Vedas, Upanishads, Smriti means the Puranas, Itihasas, and Pancharatra Vidhi as given by Narad Muni, Narad Pancharatra. So the rules for worshipping the Lord, for performing bhakti are given in these scriptures. When one does not follow these injunctions that are given in scriptures, but still he thinks I'm a devotee and he makes his own way of how he will perform devotional service in his own way. He will create his own system. For example, I'll tell you, what is the need for, let me say, anything, like you have to do achaman, and then you have to, this is how you have to keep the place clean, you have to do at this time. No, without following all this, I'll do in whichever way I like, right? Or whichever way I like means I'll make my own system. I'll create this system. Anyway, no examples taken here, but sometimes the program also, morning program also, they switch it around in different ways and they just say, this is what we do in our place like this. But if you do like that, if you're just making your own changes, not following the scripture, what happens is it simply creates disturbance. That type of bhakti will not give you the desired result. What is the desired result of bhakti? You want to develop love of Godhead. You're not going to get that. On the contrary, you will fall down from whatever you're doing. Eventually, you'll be doing only material activity. Let's say even for some time, if you're doing so here the main point, what we are talking about here is one who rejects shastric injunctions. That's the main point here. One who does not follow Shastra, he cannot get any perfection in any field, he cannot get any happiness. So in that, so rejecting Shastra means, okay, I'll do bhakti, this much bhakti, whatever I'm doing, that I'll do according to Shastra. The rest of the time, whatever activities I do, I don't follow Shastra. I'll do whatever, I can give 100 reasons why I'm doing other things, but because whatever I'm doing other things which are not according to Shastra, I'm going according to Shastra. What will happen to such people? Because the time outside of bhakti is not being done according to Shastra, that will creep in even to his bhakti. And in bhakti also, he will not follow Shastra. Gradually, it will start watering down and he won't do according to Shastra. And Narad Muni says in Narad Pancharatra that when you perform bhakti by not following Shastra, soon you'll just give up everything. You'll fall down. You'll fall down completely. So the point is, if you don't follow Shastra, and if you still think you're doing bhakti, that simply creates disturbance. Utpataya eva kalpate. It will only create disturbance. Was that okay, or you were asking for anything?
No, Mataji, I got that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, why we came here? Okay. We were talking about the asuras. I'm trying to tell you this part. So asuras, so later on in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, because there Arjun asks a question of Krishna. What was Arjun's question? Krishna, you said in this at the end of 16th chapter that one who does not follow Shastra cannot get any perfection. But we see that some people are worshipping with faith. They have nishtha. Nishtha means here you should take as faith, shraddha. With great shraddha, they're worshipping, but they're worshipping without following Shastra. What type of shraddha do they have? What do you call that shraddha? Is that because already Krishna covered the modes of material nature in the 14th chapter, goodness, passion, ignorance. So Arjun is asking, what type of shraddha is that? Faith. Is that in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Someone very faithfully is worshipping the Lord, but he is worshipping the Lord with faith, but without following Shastra. It's not in Shastra. It's not recommend. It's not the way. He's not following Shastra's order, but with great faith he's worshipping. What type of Shraddha does he have? What type of worship is that? So in answer to that, Krishna said there are three types of faith: faith in goodness, faith in passion, faith in ignorance. What is faith in goodness? Satviki Shraddha. Faith in goodness means your antahkarana. Antahkarana means your mind, intelligence, your chitta and ahankar. Your antahkarana is primarily influenced by the mode of goodness. So in such antahkarana, let's say mind, the mind which is primarily influenced by the mode of goodness, in that mind, the Shraddha which is produced is called Satviki Shraddha. The mind which is influenced by passion, the Shraddha which is produced in that mind is called Rajasi Shraddha. And the mind which is influenced by ignorance, tamoguna, the Shraddha which is produced in that mind is called Tamasi Shraddha. So there are three types of faith: faith in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, what type of worship do people who are in goodness do? They worship demigods, Krishna says. People who have Satviki Shraddha, they will worship demigods. People who have Rajasi Shraddha, they will worship Rakshasas and Yakshas. And people whose faith is in ignorance, they will worship Bhutas and Pretas, ghosts. They will worship. So black magic, etc. What was Arjun's question? What type of faith is that? Isn't it? What type of faith? When someone does not follow Shastra, what type of faith is his? That was Arjun's question. Krishna didn't answer that yet. Someone who's not following Shastra, what is his faith? That is not directly addressed. Instead, Krishna said there are three types of faith: faith in goodness, passion, and ignorance. And faith in goodness means they're influenced by the mode, their mind is influenced by goodness. And then in that mind, whatever Shraddha is produced, that is faith in goodness. And such people worship demigods. And people with Rajasi Shraddha will worship Rakshasas and Yakshas. And people with Tamasi faith, Tamasi Shraddha, will worship Bhutas and Pretas. Still the question remains, one who is not following Shastra, what is his faith? So then Krishna says, those whose faith is in Rajoguna and Tamoguna, right? That means whose faith is Rajasi and Tamasi, they are Asuras. Why? They are always with pride, Dambha and Ahankara, with pride and false ego that I'm so great. And such people, inevitably, they will be filled with lust, anger, attachment, and this power. They want that. So because of this, they will be covered with these things. Such people, they don't follow Shastras. They don't follow Shastric injunctions. So what do you understand by this? When someone is not following Shastra, inevitably, it means that he is, he's covered with Dambha, pride, Ahankara, and thereby with lust. And what do you call such people? You call them Asuras. And there Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, you'll find these qualities. What type of worship do they do? Severe tapasya, severe austerities they can perform. But they do that which is not enjoined in Shastra. They do very severe penances. They can do very big scale yagyas and they give charities. But they reject the Shastras. And they are driven by what? By this lust for power. And they are very proud. And they have this ahankara, arrogant. I'm so great. I'm going to do everything. These are the people who will not, inevitably, you cannot separate them. If you're rejecting Shastra means, you'll be an Asura. Your mentality will be Asura's mentality. So now we are hearing Kamsa's ministers are advising Kamsa. What are they saying? My dear Kamsa, let's kill, right? Brahmanas, so that they won't do yagyas. right? And when there are no yagyas, no Lord Vishnu. When there's no Lord Vishnu, the demigods are also finished. And in this way, we will help you. Please order us to go and kill all the cows so that there won't be any ghee, like this. So this is Asura's mentality. Asuras think like this. We are just zooming in the hearts, into the consciousness of Asuras in these verses. Next, let me just see what we read in 41. Yeah. The Brahmanas, the cows, Vedic knowledge, austerity, truthfulness, control of the mind and senses, faith, mercy, tolerance, and sacrifice are the different parts of the body of Lord Vishnu, and they are the paraphernalia for a godly civilization. Yes. So, they regard the Krishna consciousness movement as a form of brainwashing, so they cannot be happy in a godless civilization. And the Lord punishes them by keeping them in darkness birth after birth. Krishna consciousness movement has started a Brahminical civilization. But especially when it is introduced in the Western countries, the Asuras try to impede it in many ways. Nonetheless, we must push forward this movement tolerantly for the benefit of human society. Next, let's see what the Asuras are saying.
But
Sahisar
Brahminical, Mataji,
sorry. Go ahead, Mataji.
sorry, Mataji. What does it mean by a Brahminical civilization?
Brahminical civilization.
Acha, Brahminical civilization. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Brahminical.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next verse. Sahi sarvasuradhyaksho hyasuradvid guhashayah tanmula devata sarva seshvarah sa chaturmukha ayam vai tad vadhopayo yadrishinam vihimsanam. Lord Vishnu, the super soul within the core of everyone's heart, is the ultimate enemy of the Asuras and is therefore known as Asuradvit. Asuradvit. Asuradvit, actually. Here, Asuradvit, the enemy of the Asuras. Like, Dvesha also comes from that root, right? Dvishaha. So, Asuradvit means one who is the enemy of Asura. He is the leader of all the demigods, because all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, exist under his protection. The great saintly persons, sages, and Vaishnavas also depend upon him. To persecute the Vaishnavas, therefore, is the only way to kill Vishnu. This is like typical Asura. Time and again we see, every Asura we see. The first thing they do is they torture the devotees. They try to, literally torture the devotees and try to kill them. Because if they are finished, then their enemy, Lord Vishnu, they'll conquer. So, Lord Vishnu, the super soul within the core of everyone's heart, is the ultimate enemy of the Asuras and is therefore known as Asuradvit. He is the leader of all the demigods because all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, exist under his protection. The great saintly persons, sages, and Vaishnavas also depend upon him. To persecute the Vaishnavas, therefore, is the only way to kill Vishnu. Sahi Sarva Suradhyaksha, Sura Adhyaksha, the leader of the Suras, demigods, Sarva Suradhyaksha, he is the leader of all the demigods. He, Asura Dvid, he is the enemy of the Asura. Guhashayaha, Guha means what? Cave. Ashaya means taking shelter. Someone who takes shelter in the cave. What is the cave? The hearts of all people. He is staying in the heart, the super soul, the heart of all living entities. Tan Mula Devata Sarvaha. Right? So, Tan Mula Devata Sarvaha. So, Mula means root. So, for the demigods, who is the root? Who is the shelter for the demigods? Him, Vishnu. He is the root for all the demigods. Sheshvara sa Chaturmukhaha. So, then he is also the protector of who is Chaturmukha? Brahma. Ishvara means Lord Shiva. Okay. So, he is also the shelter for Ishvara, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. ayam vai tad vadhopayo. So if you want to kill that Vishnu, yad rishinam vihimsanam. What should you do? Rishinam, all the sages, that means Vaishnavas, devotees, saintly persons, you should himsa, right? You should torture them, suppress them by various kinds of persecution. That's the way to win over Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is the shelter for Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, for all the demigods. So if by torturing the devotees, Lord Vishnu will be finished, when Lord Vishnu is finished, everyone else is finished, all the demigods and everything. That's their plan. Purport: the demigods and the Vaishnavas especially are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, because they are always obedient to his orders. Om tad Vishnoho paramam padam sada pashyanti surayaha. We chant this mantra for purification before doing archana. Om tad Vishnoho paramam padam sada pashyanti surayaha. The demoniac, that means he is the shelter, right, for all the devotees, Vaishnavas, for the demigods. The demoniac followers of Kamsa thought that if the Vaishnavas, saintly persons and sages, were persecuted, the original body of Vishnu would naturally be destroyed, because they are all parts of his body, and if you cut off all the limbs, then the body will be destroyed. Thus they decided to suppress Vaishnavism. That's what asuras do, always suppress Vaishnavism. The asura, and where does Vaishnavism flourish? Where there is, where there is mode of goodness, it is a conducive atmosphere for Vaishnavism. It's a favorable atmosphere, mode of goodness. So if you destroy that, where there is modes of passion and ignorance, then that is not a conducive atmosphere. So they decided to suppress Vaishnavism. The asuras perpetually struggle to persecute the Vaishnavas because they do not want Vaishnavism to spread. Vaishnavas preach only devotional service, not encouraging karmis, jnanis and yogis. But because if one must liberate oneself from material conditional life, one must ultimately become a Vaishnava. Our Krishna consciousness movement is directed with this understanding, and therefore the asuras always try to suppress it. Ekdam, straightforward preaching. Vaishnavas preach only devotional service, not encouraging karmis, jnanis and yogis. They don't encourage. You speak Vaishnavism only, right? Even it's not that you are rejecting any audience. They can come, but you will only speak Krishna conscious philosophy. You will only speak Krishna conscious philosophy. Vaishnavas preach only devotional service, not that, yes, this is also a path to reach Krishna, that is also a path to reach Krishna, you can follow so many paths. No. The only path to reach Krishna is Krishna consciousness, devotional service. Vaishnavas preach only devotional service, not encouraging karmis, jnanis and yogis. Because if one must liberate oneself from material conditional life, one must ultimately become a Vaishnava. Our Krishna consciousness movement is directed with this understanding, and therefore the asuras always try to suppress it, right? So we can stop there. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No? Okay. I have another class at the temple, so I will end here. Thank you all so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.